Hello and welcome to Just Like Me. I'm here with Janet Lark today, and Janet is kind of famous on our membership site because we did an interview with her way back when before we started the Just Like Me interviews, because Janet had been practicing yoga every day. So she had practiced yoga 365 days in a row, and she'd been keeping me abreast of that situation. And once she hit that 365 days, I said, well, let's do an interview. Let's let everybody know about that. And people were really, they were really turned on by it and really motivated. It really motivated people. And then when we started bringing out these Just Like Me interviews, there was a interest. People got interested in that interview again. So, welcome, Janet.
Well, thank you. I'm so happy to be here again.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming back and give us a little update. I think you're still going with your
I am still
consecutive
going.
days.
I had to stop because I haven't really been keeping track. I had to stop and get the calendar out and count the days. So I think 870 days
Wow.
in a row.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, and I was shocked myself because I hadn't really thought about it for, when the second year came around, I thought, about it then, but I hadn't really thought much about it, and but it's just part of my life now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's almost 3 years now.
Right.
And it makes me think of a book that was on the New York Times bestseller list a few years ago. It may still be, it was on for a long time, The Power of Habit.
Yes.
And it spoke about how once you make a decision about something, it just takes away all this brain space about having to make that choice over and over again. And so just that decision to do yoga every day, it's just part of your life now, and you just do it every day, and now it's no longer a decision anymore. It's just
No, it's not a decision anymore, and even on those days when you're tired, there's it's probably more important than the days that you're really gung-ho and wanting to do a lot of difficult postures. Those restful days are just as important as those, I mean, I'm never going to be able to do a headstand. I guess, I've lived this long without doing a headstand.
yeah.
I think it will be all right.
Yeah.
But
Well,
some of those,
it's more important to be able to stand on your feet than stand on your head, right?
exactly, exactly.
I mean,
That should be the title of a book.
well, yes. I mean, there's loads of populations that are in wheelchairs, broken legs, on crutches that would be perfectly happy to be able to stand on their feet,
Yeah,
right?
right. Yeah. So, but it's funny because my husband will say, did you do your yoga already? Or, oh, you have to do your yoga before we do something. Oh, you're going to go do your yoga. So it's part of both of our lives
hmm
now.
Yeah,
So,
it
yeah.
becomes that way. I can
Hmm.
relate to that too because I know this year with my teacher, my yoga teacher here, she's just her life's mission is to get people meditating. And so at a retreat I went to with her in November, I said, well, that's it. I'm just, I did have an incredibly consistent practice, but if I wasn't feeling well, or maybe on the weekends I would sleep in, there would be a couple days off here and there. I said, well, that's it. I'm just going to make that decision. And I did. And it does change everything
Right.
when you just decide every single day. And yeah, my husband's on board now too. Oh, if we
Sure.
had an early morning webinar and I wasn't able to do my meditation practice in the morning, then it becomes that question. Oh, so right? Have you done it yet? Yeah, the whole
You'll be
family has to
happy.
shift around it.
You'll be a happier person if you do it
Right?
right.
Yeah. And then, yeah, everything kind of revolves around making sure that fits into your day once that
Right.
decision has been made. Yeah. And it
That's
becomes a lifeline too, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's Janet. That's how we know her. That's how she's become so well known on in our membership community, and why we're so glad to be able to get an update. And let's take a step back now and
Okay.
find out how you came to Namaste Yoga, and then how you joined the membership site. Sort of. So that's kind of where we usually start with people on the Just Like Me interviews.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, way back 871 days ago, or whenever it was, I had seen Jane Fonda, who was 75 at the time. She was promoting a DVD that she was making, and it was yoga. And so I went to Amazon, and it was back ordered. And I was like, And so I started looking online and YouTube's, and they have all the yoga models that can stand on their heads, or flip their heel over their neck or whatever, all those things that I can't do, which those are no fun to watch. And then I came upon one of yours that said, for real people, like for real people.
Yeah.
That are just happy to be able to touch their toes or not, or not touch their toes.
Right.
So I watched one, and then I signed up for the free morning and evening.
Yeah.
And I did those. And then I discovered that your YouTube channel had, at that time, somewhere over 100.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started randomly doing those. And then I looked at the website a couple of times, and then, do I want to commit to the amount of money? And it's a decision. This was at Christmas time. Well, I paid whatever it was for the DVD for Jane Fonda that was back ordered, and by the time it came, and I did it 3 times, I gave it away. And was doing you exclusively then at that time, and then I joined the membership site. Tim was so helpful. He basically said, hey, if you don't like it, we can let you out of it. He's just trying to be so helpful to reassure me, because, everything on the internet, do you really want to do all those things? And it's a decision, and again, decision.
So isn't this funny though? I just gotta point out the irony of this, that people are willing to spend $20 on a Jane Fonda DVD that they're going to do once, and that you had access to over 100 of my videos, that you knew that you liked my style, you were only doing it then, and yet it was still a really difficult decision to know whether to come in and make that financial commitment to have access to more.
Right. And the purchasing of those DVDs, well, half the time your DVD player doesn't work,
Well, yeah, they stop working over time too, those DVDs, right? Because you wear them out.
Yes. And it's repetition. It's the very same thing every single time you do it. Whereas all those videos, the choices were immense then, and now with the membership site and what's the 100 plus more that are available on YouTube, it's phenomenal, the value that's out there. Yeah.
And the cool thing about the membership site too is that, so you guys have 225 videos that are the yoga ones that I've made, plus you have all the ones that other people have made, plus the weekly challenges, plus. But the stuff that I'm bringing you is always what I'm researching, the leading edge research in the movement community.
In real time. Yeah.
In real time, right? Yeah. So it's always evolving, it's always changing, and it's leading edge, right? So that's the really great thing about what you guys are getting, and I do hold that back. The free people that are getting the free stuff aren't getting access to that, right? Like all the stuff that we're doing with connective tissue and all that right now, none of that's going out for free.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And that stuff is taking you guys like miles and miles ahead of what you can do just with yoga.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's, there's real huge advantages to what you're getting inside the membership community.
And to be perfectly honest, if you were taking a class somewhere, even if you went every day, you couldn't, I mean, it would cost you.
Yeah, you couldn't. Yeah.
It's,
yeah, you couldn't.
At the very least $10 a day, at the very least,
Yeah.
and more likely $25 per class.
Yeah, because they're more like workshop classes. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can do this at 2 o'clock in the morning, at 6 o'clock in the morning, at night, whenever you want.
Exactly. Yeah, you get to choose. Like, that's the other thing about when you go to a studio, right? You're kind of at the mercy of their schedule, right? Whereas when you go on, you get to choose whatever class you want at whatever time, that's just not something you get when you go to an in-person class, right? Yeah. So, yeah, tough decision still, though. So I always find that so interesting.
I mean, seriously. 12 grandchildren I had to buy presents for.
That's true. Yeah, it's tough to buy for yourself, yeah.
Yeah, so, but I'm so grateful to have done it. I'm so happy that I had the opportunity and chose to do that. It's all about making those choices, and that, you have that critic that says...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I spoke over you. Say that again. You have that critic that
says, oh, you can't spend that money on yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So this week we're going to ask the question, is that true?
Is that true? Is that critic true? Or probably.
Is that true? You can't spend that money on yourself.
Oh, it's not true. And, I'm having a cappuccino here. For what that cappuccino cost, if I had one of those daily, I still would not have. I mean, the value that you're presenting is so much.
Yeah. And when you start looking at it that way, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we spent a little time when we did our little test recording. You showed me something new that I didn't know, and that's what I love about these interviews. And I know that is what our members love about it too, is that they always learn new ways around the membership site. So you now it wants to be on the other screen. Okay.
Oh, there you are. There you go.
So I asked you where we could find you when you're on the membership site, and you told me a place where I don't usually go. So why don't you tell everybody who's listening?
Well, I like to check today's postings. So there is what's new, and there it gives you the posts that may be an answer to yesterday's post, or sometimes there's something on there that just catches my eye that maybe I missed yesterday, and I might go back and read through those forums. But it's always new material every day on there. And you can check in with friends that post quite often. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of a lurker sometimes and spend more time lurking than posting, but I do enjoy everyone's posts.
Yeah, and what's really cool about this that I don't usually get to see in the way that I look at it is you can see what's more popular too.
Right.
Like you can see the threads that have a lot of replies and a lot of views, so you can see a
lot of current replies. Yeah.
You can see where people have been today.
Exactly.
Yeah. I like this. I think I'm going to be checking in here. Where I usually check is here under today's post. But I don't think it quite shows me in the same, well, I guess it does. It kind of shows me in the same way. It's a little different.
It is. The screen is just slightly different.
Yeah. I think it's a little different. Yeah, so I think it just lets me look at it in a little different way. So I like that. It's a good way to check in and see
Right.
what's going on, what's what, who's where.
I like it too. It's my favorite spot.
Yeah, good. It just helps you feel what's happening and what's going on and what's hot and where people are at. And that's a good thing to feel like you're belonging and like you can jump in and feel like you know where things are happening. I like that. Yeah. And where else? You told me a few other places you like to go.
Ivy's devotionals.
Yeah,
and then you can see, sometimes people have, my mom always says she's sending me happy clouds. And so when I see that there's someone that's got, we all have troubles. So I try and send them happy clouds wherever they are.
So this is a thread here where people ask for requests, and you can devote your yoga practice or your meditation practice to them. If you pray, you can send them prayers. And it's amazing what happens here, the kind of transformation that takes place in this section.
Exactly. Yeah.
And a really cool, oops, I went too far. Let me go back to Ivy's section. Really nice thing that Ivy's been doing, because the Inner Critic series has been quite intense. She's been doing a companion series to it now. She told me she posted another one. Let's see. I don't see it here, though. Well, expect another one imminently. But she did, this was one that came out a couple of weeks ago, to support you in the Inner Critic series, which is great. It's really nice to have these companion series for the Inner Critic series. And she did just email me yesterday with another one that she thought she had posted, but I'm not seeing it here. So these are fantastic to go along with the Inner Critic series as well.
And again, you get to check in with people and feel like you're touching their lives.
Yeah, it's really nice, because Ivy is really great at connecting with our people in the site, and she does a great job of having a sense of what's happening and pulling that all together. And so she usually speaks to that in her actual videos each time she does one. And she speaks to what people are going through and asks again for prayers, or for people to devote their practices or their meditations to what people are going through too as well. So it does give a sense of community and people coming together, and that we're all in this together. And it's a beautiful part of our site. And I'm really, I felt really inspired to start this section, and I feel really grateful to Ivy for leading this section, because it was something that she took over. Yeah. Great. Where else can we find you?
Well, I go through your minute,
The My Membership Minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. This is a great section. Tell us how it helps you, or is there one that was particularly meaningful to you?
Well, the minute is sometimes, that's sometimes all you have is that minute.
Yeah, I try to keep them nice and short.
But I'm saying that's sometimes all I have is that.
Yeah.
That minute. And I'm like, it's just another place to be able to touch base, mm-hmm. and see what's going on, or what's going to go on through the rest of the week, and see what you're exploring, getting ready for the, I'm saying it's a Friday video, but I know it's not Friday for you. But to kind of get a feel what's coming up and what's important.
Yeah, it's great. If you have any fear of missing out in the membership site, this will keep you from missing out on things. Yeah, and I do try to make sure I link to, if I don't speak to new content in the membership minute, I'll link to new content in the show notes. Right now, I'm really trying to, in the membership minute, help simplify the process of the membership site for people, make it easier, because I know people are overwhelmed in their lives. They've got a lot going on. So that's really my intention over the next few weeks. So I'll definitely be putting links in the show notes as to what's going on more in the membership minute just over the next few weeks.
And I have to say, I love the show notes. Very often when I watch the weekly broadcast, the weekly video on YouTube, I end up going back and watching it with the show notes underneath. So if I need to stop and look at something in particular or a photo of a particular posture, that I can do that and then restart again.
Like the Namaste show notes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, show notes are really important, and they can make a huge difference to your experience. And yeah, those Namaste show notes, they take forever.
I'm sure they do.
So I'm really glad to hear that you appreciate them.
I appreciate it. I love the show notes. I go through them quite often because I'm constantly stealing from you too. I want you to know that.
You're not alone in that. Yeah.
We're just sharing, right? Sharing.
Yeah.
Sharing it.
Yeah, because you're a teacher, right? So.
Well, I can't say that I'm a teacher, but yeah, I try and lead a class occasionally.
Yeah, so you teach yoga classes, and so you find taking these classes allows you to take that content into your own classes?
It does. Today, we were talking this morning. I had 2 classes this morning, and the first class, we were chatting a little bit about the inner critic, and then that little fly that's on the wall. So I told them to send their inner critic to go sit in the car, and then the little fly that's on the wall was telling them how perfect they were. So looking down at their postures and saying, you're doing that perfectly, or you're doing that as well as you'll ever do, whatever, something positive. And the critic went to sit in the car.
So it sounds like you're making it your own then.
Well, no, not my own, but at least, borrowing and referencing.
Yeah. And, that's how I create my content too, right? I did not come up with the concept of the inner critic on my own. So
yeah, I always link books, yes.
Yeah, I linked to Helen Cedarstone's book on the inner critic, and then the way we're going through the themes of awareness and acceptance and befriending and truth and choice, truth this week, that came from all my training as a Phoenix Rising yoga therapist, teacher, and group facilitator. So, all of that didn't come out of thin air for me. So, yeah, I think as long as you're honest and truthful about where your content comes from, and you reference and send people to the source of your content, then you're living in integrity. Yeah. So that's great. Okay, so that was the membership minutes, and yes, good show notes, and then the show notes are great for exactly that, for referencing, and then good referencing allows people to go and find the source so much more easily too, which is great.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, let's share the screen again. So there's the My Membership Minute. Oh, now it's decided it wants to be on this monitor. It just keeps changing. It's fine.
There we go.
Okay. All right. And My Membership Minute. Um, was there somewhere else that you spend your time?
Uh, and the thing is that I will get involved in going back to the today's post and what's new, I will get involved in a post that's maybe 40 pages long, and then I will find myself going and reading from the beginning to the end.
Wow.
It's like reading a novel.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if there's new people in there, I'm like, going, oh, wait, where did this person come from? So then I go back and research, maybe when a new person came on or
Wow.
something. So yes, I am a lurker. I do
You really connect
know
with
everybody.
people. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and one thing that one of my intentions as a teacher moving forward that I'm really thinking about, and you'll see it in this week's class, so watch for it, is to try and pull out some of the things that our members are really learning about, because one of the great things when people post about their experience of the classes is that there's so much rich content there. Like there must be for you to sit there and go through and read it. As you say, there's a novel. And so what I want to do is start pulling those stories out more and bringing them forward in the teachings. And our members have been incredibly wonderful and forthcoming with giving me permission to share those stories. So it's a great way for us to come together as a community and to enhance everybody's learning. So I want to really start to pull more from.
I have a quick story for you. This morning, I do a chair class at the community center, and I have somewhere between 8 and 12 ladies. The youngest is probably in her 40s maybe, and the oldest is 97. And one of our members was in the hospital last week with pneumonia, and she was back today. And so we were chatting, and of course making sure that how she was doing, and if she was doing well, and if she really felt like she wanted to participate, and so forth and so on. And she goes, oh, well, I have to tell you, all those things they made me do in the hospital for pneumonia, I just told them it was so much like yoga, and that I do yoga twice a week. And because we do a lot of breath practice.
Nice.
And then a lot of balance practice.
Nice, yeah.
And so she said, I just told them
I love it.
that I'm doing well because I do yoga twice a week.
I've got the stuff covered. I'm already doing it.
So but it's surprising how open, more so with these older women than even my younger people in my regular class, that they are just so open to doing and trying and being part of it, and it's turned into so much more than I ever imagined it would be.
It's fantastic. Do you think that's because the stakes are higher, because they their health is declining? And
right. Yeah. I think part of it is I'm not going to run a mile again, but I can do this,
Yeah, like I think at their age, getting a good breath in is actually incredibly important to them. Whereas somebody in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, to convince them how important it is to get a good breath in, it takes a lot of education.
Right.
Their biggest problems that they want to have solved, there's, they've got a whole different set of issues.
They want to be flexible, and the rest of us just want to be upright.
Right. Whereas if they actually, So, yeah, we have to speak to different populations in different ways, but it's a great population to work with because the
It's
stakes are so much higher. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so it was incredibly rewarding. Yeah, chair yoga. I love chair yoga. And that is a great class on the site. I would love to do another one.
Yeah, I love that class. We have done your class.
I'm sure you could film another one for me. I'm sure lots of our members could. Because I never taught chair yoga when I was actually teaching in people in person. I only did that after I started doing when I was only doing videos.
Right.
Yeah. So now it's gone back to the other screen.
Oh, there.
Your temperamental software. It's going back to the other screen.
We're past that.
It's the Jokester. It's the Jokester software. Okay, tell me. So, you have some favorite videos. Although you like to say something about your favorite videos too.
I do. I always say that the one I like the most is the one I just did, but I love grounding. Love it. I've done it 30, 40 times.
I just recently redid this one.
Right.
It's a great class. And when I finished filming it, I had all the intentions to go back and do like a short series on it. Like a series of short classes on grounding.
It's like putting your feet in this warm sand. I mean, that's the way I feel about that class.
Yeah, it's a great class, and there's tons of stuff in this class that isn't in any other video.
Right. And that pose that you're showing there, that is that sleeping warrior? What is that one called?
I don't know, because when I went back and did this video, I was like, wow, there's some variations in this class that I haven't done in like forever. Yeah, or I kind of made them up just for this class.
This is one that I do before I get out of bed in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
On both sides.
Nice.
Yeah, and this is one that I teach in my stretching class.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a favorite.
And I think the relevance of this class is even more so now than when we posted it, which was, let's see, when did this class get? So this came out in 2013. And since 2013, I feel like we've just increasingly over the last little while, we've been more inundated with handheld devices, cell phones,
Yes.
iPad minis, YouTube, social media. We have more streams of social media. And so I feel personally, I feel it. I see it in my family's usage. I just feel that our nervous systems are so fried from all of that. And this video just so addresses that.
Is this the one where you say something about watching a movie, a Disney movie, and
Yeah, that's my second beginner yoga video. And I watched that one recently too, and I was thinking, wow, that is only, I think, a couple of years old too. And the examples in it now are almost irrelevant compared to how much things have changed since then.
Yeah. I think about that. My youngest grandson, or one of my younger grandsons, they went to the movie theater on Saturday. And it was the Avengers, and he'd been looking so forward to it, and blah, blah, blah. And it hadn't been on 20 minutes, and I believe that the noise and the loudness and the action of it, it gave him a headache and sick to his stomach, and they had to leave. So because it was just too much.
Too much stimulation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Too much stimulation.
For a nervous system that's already like right here at the brink, ready to go over, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And even I I don't enjoy going to the movie theater because it's either too loud, too cold, there's too much going on.
Yeah.
I can't stand, all that stimulation.
It's sensory overload, like you say, like temperature, it's visual, it's audio, it is too much. So what we were talking about originally is the rate of the scene changes, especially in children's movies,
children's films,
where they change. I was speaking about how they change every 1 to 2 seconds. So the frame rate changes every second to 2 seconds. And it's so what that does to your nervous system, I think that's insane.
Right. So all the more reason to find yourself a way to be grounded.
Yeah. And it's great here. We have beaches and forests and mountains. And yesterday we were on the beach and there were kids burying each other in the sand. And so that's fantastic. But we live in such a unique place. That's not the norm.
Right.
Right. It's normal for people to walk around here in their bare feet in parks and things, but that's not the norm.
Right.
So, I think that kind of class, like the one, I'm ready to go searching for it again. Yeah, it moved.
That's very peaceful right there.
Yeah, see, Tim goes whale watching all the time. It's not for me in those boats. Too much wind and bouncing up and down in the boats. But yeah, this class is such an antidote to the cultural overload. And that series that we did in Namaste Yoga, the Nourishing Your Energy series this winter.
Yeah.
Some people, not too many, I can't complain, but I've got a few emails from people that said, can you pick up the pace again? And I was like, no, you have to understand that we're living in a time where it's amazing that we're still walking erect. We have so much overload going on to our nervous system. Yeah. And we're going to just stop and deal with it for a while. So this is a great class that actually
I love that class.
deals with that. Yeah. Okay, so you had some others. Thanks for indulging.
I'm sorry, I went on a little long. The hippie shorts and the happy hips. I am like this. Some people like to work arms. Some people like to work legs. I love to work hips.
Hips, yes. Hippie shorts are a favorite, and Happy Hips was like the original, and it's a long video.
Right, love it.
Yeah, so if you have a long time, I put every hip opener I could think of in that class. And then in this one, I kind of came back and I let my creative mind go wild, and I kind of just came up with any variation I could think of.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
Yeah, and this one has, it's not just flexibility, there's stability. There's good stability ones in here, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's nice. This one's nice, too, because look at the variation in times in this one, too. You've got nice 10-minute to 20-minute ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love those. I usually do 2 or 3 at the same time, in a row. But sometimes it's just great to pick out a 10-minute one in the morning and a 10-minute one at night.
It's so nice to have that flexibility, especially because I know you look after your grandchildren, and I know I have to get my daughter off to school in the morning, and she's 13. You'd think she'd be able to do that a little more on her own, but
they need all the help they can get.
Oh my gosh. Well, those of you that are mothers of teenagers, it's what kind of a monumental task it is getting a teenager out of bed and off to school in the morning. You can probably relate to that a bit.
And I remember, it wasn't that long ago.
Okay, you had some others.
Let's see. And digestion.
Oh yeah, the digestion one. That's in the long video section. That video is really cool.
Yeah. And that is probably, I have 2 questions that are always asked to me. How to get rid of this?
Uh-huh.
Which I said if I knew, I wouldn't have it. And the other one is digestion. I cannot believe the amount of people that have trouble with their digestion and elimination.
Uh-huh.
And so we always try and do some little bit for digestion.
Yeah, and I have to say, when I've gone back and done this class too, there's stuff in here that isn't anywhere else too. There's some really unique stuff in there. There's some Acu-Yoga stuff in there, and there's just some really kind of neat variations and tools and tips and tricks and information that just isn't anywhere else. And that is on my wish list to do too, to create a shorter series. I keep waiting for it to come up on the wish list, but I know
It's official. It's from me.
Okay. Yeah. So here's a request from me for you guys to make requests, because that's how we operate around here, is we wait for our members to ask us for what they want, and then we create content that they want.
Okay, and if you can do something about it.
Well, let me show you where that is. Okay.
Okay, good.
So yeah, I've always wanted, because I know some of our users suffer from Crohn's and colitis. Mm-hmm. So those are digestive issues. And tons of people, our food, the quality of our food is just so poor now. Right. And loads of people have, what's it called when you can't eat wheat?
Gluten.
Gluten issues. Intolerances and all those things.
Yeah. And sugar.
Well, yeah, I don't anyway, everybody needs to make their own decisions about that. But, yeah, digestion is a huge issue. The quality of our food is just not what it used to be, and so it's hard to get the nutrients. And then, yeah, it's just very easy for that to go off. And so I personally have been wanting to put together a shorter series on that as well, just like the grounding one. But people have been asking for, like, stress and anxiety has come up as that's a big problem. Sure. So I can see putting something like that together. So let me show you where for this is.
Okay.
So we have a strength building series. Do you ever do that one?
I have done. This is one that hates me.
Oh, why does it hate
me? But I've done it probably 5 times.
Okay, so
and I've done it in class as well. We did, even my chair ladies, we use like sandbags and use the little weights. But I don't push it too much with them. But we have done some of these postures with, your weight. It hates me. I hate it, but I do it anyway.
So tell me more about why it hates you, why you hate it. What's the hate relationship here?
Because it's one of those things, I know I should do this. It's one of those decision-making
things. It's like a should thing?
Yeah. And I'm fine when I do it.
Uh-huh.
It's just like, I really should do that
it's like
one.
A should. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that, yeah. But you love flexibility, right?
I do.
Okay. So what if I told you, I'm going to turn my video camera back on. What if I told you that the fastest way to become more flexible is actually to strengthen your muscles?
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah. So the truth of the matter is, the fastest way to get your hamstrings more flexible is to practice chair pose, warrior poses, because they're not really actually going to lengthen unless they're engaged and on.
Right.
Yeah.
But some of those in that strength season, hard poses.
Yeah, this series was built so that it could be a work up to series.
Right.
So it was built so that you could not be an expert the first time.
So, no problem there.
Yeah. It was built so that, so that you wouldn't throw out the video, so that you could work towards it. There's options in it though, yes?
Oh, I know.
Okay.
I know.
Okay, good. I'm just checking back. But yeah, it's tough, but this is where my background as a fitness instructor comes in, right?
Uh,
Did you feel that?
That shows. Let
Yeah.
me tell you, that shows.
Yeah, I enjoyed putting this series together because
You laughed more in that
really.
one. Oh gosh, yes. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because that's what you have to do when you're a fitness instructor. That's
Right.
the bubbly personality, right? You have permission to
Got
be
that one down.
bubbly
Yeah.
and laugh and
Yeah.
scream and yell and smile and yeah. So this one you get to. Well, I asked the members, are you averse to using hand weights?
Right.
It was around the time when I was getting a lot of requests for, what was it, strength building, or I don't know what I was getting requests for, but this fulfilled that request.
It definitely did. And the best part about it was one of the shorter classes.
Yeah, they are.
Each class was, not a half an hour.
Yeah.
So, there was some relief in sight. And I have done them more than once. But it's not like, oh, I can't wait to go to that one.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, so I'm really glad that we got to bring it up. So the tricep one for the what do they call that? The chicken wings.
Uh-huh.
They call that the flappy chicken wings, or I don't know what
Yeah.
they call that. Because it's not one that I see people practicing a lot. So I'm glad we brought it up.
And I promise I will go back through and do those again.
Well, it wasn't.
So I can tell everyone that asks me, then they'll never ask me again.
Well, yeah, when they ask you, just pull out some of those moves and get them doing them.
Yeah.
Give them a little. I'm just trying to see when we put that out, how long ago that was.
It had to be 13, I
You
think.
think it's 2013?
I'm not sure.
Oh, I might not see a date. It doesn't really matter. 2013, July 2013, a couple years ago. Yeah.
It was summer, and I remember it was hot because you were in shorts and you were hot.
That was a hot spot
Yeah.
on Lake Ontario there. I was talking to Tim about that the other day. A real hot spot. I was saying, remember those hot locations we used to film? It used to just be so hot by the end of filming. Thank God, no more of that. Is there anything else you want to make sure people see before we start talking a little bit about your life? And
Let's see. Let's see. Let me look at my notes because I did take notes. And you've been talking about time.
yeah,
And finding time for your yoga. And so that was something I had on my notes. And someone, and I can't remember who it was, and I apologize, said something about, oh, does it count if I just do a warrior pose or,
Mhm.
and I can remember saying it all counts,
Mhm.
I don't build that knee up pose into my 20 minutes or my hour a day that I do it before I get out of bed. But I make sure to do it. And I think that everything counts.
I agree.
If you're reaching, it counts. If you're up on your toes, it counts. It all counts, whether you're calling it yoga in that moment or not.
I agree
So,
totally. And that's where that inner critic really comes in and says, oh, that meditation didn't count, or that practice didn't count, or, and it's not true, right? We discount so much of, some of our members spend all this time watching lectures or reading about yoga, and it's all part of the practice, right? It's all
Yeah.
part of that journey.
Mm-hmm. I try and build a few minutes of meditation into some of our classes. And I'm always saying, okay, I know some of you are making your grocery list, but that's okay. If your meditation requires that you make your grocery list, that's okay too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's all part of the same brain power that you're using. It would be better, well, not better, best. Whatever your focus has got to be in that moment, it's your moment. So use it wisely.
Right. Yeah. And eventually, they might make a different choice, right?
There's sometimes I'm making a grocery list.
Exactly. Right.
So.
Yep. Okay. Why don't you tell us a little bit about where you live and your life where you live? And
I live in central Iowa. I'm about half an hour from where I was born, so I haven't gone very far. Only 60 some years later. We have 5 children. We have 12 grandchildren and 10 borrowed grandchildren, some steps and I always say they're borrowed. So the youngest one is 3. The oldest one is 27.
wow.
Quite a range in age. Yeah. Let's see, how many are there's 9 in town here. So 9 of them are very close by. So that's a bountiful, gift in itself.
And they spend a lot of time with you too, don't they?
They do. There are. I'm the taxi service.
Nice.
Back and forth to school in the morning, in the afternoon, and then I will be the luncheon caterer and snack provider come summertime. So we're past the diapers and strollers and all that, so we're into kind of some independent thinking, and there will be some of them that will stay home alone this year for parts of the day. So that's kind of interesting for Grandma and Grandpa. My husband retired in the fall of last year, so we're now both stay-at-homes, and I don't know, we have a dog.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I think it's great to be surrounded by so many grandchildren. It's amazing. And what
some days amazing would not be the word,
yeah.
But most of the time it is amazing.
Yeah,
in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of foreign to me because of course we live so far from our family, so. Yeah. And what do you do when you're not doing yoga? What are some of the things that you're passionate about outside of yoga?
Well, the kids, of course, are, and my husband, who's my hero, although I wouldn't tell him that. But we have a little lake house that we go and spend time at. That's kind of was our dream. I don't know if I shared this before. I was thinking about Janie, that she's a breast cancer survivor, and I am also a breast cancer survivor. I'm 10 years out. And one of the things that happens when you have critical illness is that you rethink your goals in life. And it became very apparent to us that one of our goals was we wanted to have a place, on a lake or in a pond or near some water of some kind, and because we kayaked. And so that became a goal, and we reached that goal. And so I always say when you set a goal and you reach a goal, you have to make another goal. So, so now last fall I bought a stand-up paddle board.
Nice.
So my goal this year is to do some kind of yoga pose on that board without getting wet.
That's a good goal. We just went paddleboarding yesterday.
Oh yeah?
Yes. So you're on a lake, right?
Yeah, we're on a lake.
That's nice. We're on the ocean.
Yeah, and I can't.
That's tricky. Almost fell in yesterday.
You fell in yesterday?
No, I did not. I made sure that water is cold, the Pacific Ocean.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
in shorts and a tank top, and it was not that warm. But here in Victoria, it was the first time that the weather has, so I'm talking Celsius, but it's the first time that the weather broke 20. So I was like, we're going paddleboarding. And then it was breezy and cold, and I kind of wished I was wearing more than a shorts and a t-shirt. But yeah, it got a little wavy, and I almost went in. But in that moment, it was like, I'm not going in, I'm not going in, I'm not going in. It's not happening. It took a long time of not happening, but eventually I regrouped and I did not go in.
I've taken one of the smaller kids on there with me, and they get so stiff that you're constantly fighting, their stiffness and trying not to be stiff yourself. But I haven't, knock wood, have not gone over yet.
Yeah.
I really, have you seen those water mats? There's a,
Yeah, the big, I've been on one. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah?
They're fun.
Well, they have a smaller yoga-sized one, and I really want to figure out a way that I can purchase one of those and have that as well. But
you can't do any yoga on that. You're much better on your paddleboard. Have you ever been on one of those?
On the water mats? No, I have not.
Oh, yeah, you can't
I have
stand
seen
up
them.
on.
Hi, Tim. I've seen them on the lakes. The big ones I've seen.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the water mat, the yoga water mat.
They're hilarious and fun. Your grandkids and your kids and you and everybody'd have so much fun on them. But don't be planning on doing any yoga on them. You could.
But didn't I see you? Weren't you at a friend's house?
Oh yeah, that was a good catch of a photograph.
Oh, that wasn't the whole practice. The whole practice wasn't like that, huh? No.
That was a lucky catch of a photograph.
That was all the photographer and not the poser.
So what yoga pose are you going to do on the paddleboard?
I don't know yet. I'd like to do a forward fold, but I don't. Yeah, I would really like to do that one, or I'd like to do cow's face legs.
Oh, yeah.
And with a forward fold. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
You have to get somebody to take a picture of you and post it when you do it.
I might try to do that. I hope it gets warm enough to be able to do that this summer.
Your legs are going to get a little wet, but I don't think you're going in.
We'll see. We'll see. High hopes.
It's going to happen. You're going to do both of those. I know it. Especially with the hippie shorts. It's no problem.
There you go.
Yeah. I see my internet is getting. It came back. Anyway, I see my internet's getting a little slow. So I have the perfect question. for people to answer in our comments for you. It is: what pose would you like to see Janet do on her paddleboard this summer? What do you want to see her take a picture and post on?
Oh, you're opening a can of worms. I'm telling you.
Okay, any poses you want to eliminate from the offerings?
I'm open to listening to all comments, whether or not I will take anyone up on that and add that to my goal. I'm not sure if that's going to happen.
We can say no headstands.
There you go. That's never happening.
No headstands, but she's open to everything else.
Pretty much.
And I hope you're inspired to commit to a daily practice from Janet. 800.
Tim, he'd have to Google it and see how many. What's today's date? It's got to be like 870 or something like that.
Something.
Yeah. 860, 870, something like that. Yeah.
Amazingly inspiring. So thank you so much, Janet. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we look forward to hearing what the requests are for the paddleboard poses.
Debacle.
No, it's going to happen. You can do it. You can do a seated pose on the board.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
The question is going to be the photographer. That's
true.
Yes. You got to find who's the best photographer in your family. That's going to be the real. I have complete confidence in you.
I don't think I could do a selfie.
No, you can't. Don't do that because that's gonna be cell phone in the water.
Can't do that.
Okay. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you Friday.
Yeah, see you Friday.
Bye.
Bye.